Okay, what you see on your phone screen is going to be the same as what you see on your PC screen. So how to use this calculator, I like to do a clear all data before you start, just in case there's any remnants from a previous project. Anyway, the data is saved, it's called persistent memory. It's saved on your computer or phone while you're using this app, so if you get interrupted with a call or whatever, you're not going to lose your data. But anyway, these things are optional. Project name, handy if you're doing consulting work, so you can write your project that you're working on. When you download these, they download as a spreadsheet, and they are also date and time stamped, so as you progress you can continually save a fresh spreadsheet, and if you have multiple copies, just look at the date and time. Okay, by default it goes to tree 1. Tree 1, we'll make some stuff up here. We'll say it's a eucalyptus grandis. Tree height, just enter. These are usually standard features or standard things they'll ask for on a report, so I figured they should belong in here. So tree height, say 25 meters, spread 20. Comments, good form and vigor. You know, just to give you a bit of an idea, you can put other comments like, you know, to retain, not to retain, habitat, whatever. Single stem, multi-stem. The diagram will change for multi-stem. You can just keep adding stems, there's no limit. I'm sure we've come across some things like ficus trees where you can have, you know, 6, 8, 10 stems. We'll say it's a single stem. I'm going to run a few different examples. I'm going to go through you pretty fast. Diameter at standard height, no longer breast height. That's at 1.4 meters, so we'll say this guy's 83. Diameter at base before the root flare, 100. These are centimeters. I'm going to put encroachments on these so you can see how this calculator works, because this is where it really shines. Straight edge is most common, and it's best to work from the center of the tree because it's always a datum point on all drawings. The circle is actually something we invent. It's not visible in the ground, but the trunk is. Alright, so I'm going to put 6 in here. That's going to give me a 14% encroachment. So we can see all our data here. We've got our radius, we've got our notional root zone area, we've got our SRZs. So now we're going to get data here. Now the best part about this, I'm going to fly through these so you can see what I'm doing, because I'm not focusing on the data here one by one. I'm going to show you what this is capable of. So we've got an encroachment. That one's a moderate. I might just make that a minor. Oh, that's the wrong way. So make that 7. Yep, so it's under 10%, so we've got minor encroachment. Great, now we'll go and put in our next tree. The idea of this is you walk along with your phone and you can bang these out pretty much one after another. If you're getting uncomfortable, you've done 20 trees, you can send yourself a spreadsheet. If you've sent yourself a few spreadsheets, simply retain the most recent with the most data. Next tree, you just put add tree. They default to 2, but if you're on an existing project and you just had to go back and you've got to do some work on 3 trees, you can override that. You can say, oh, this is tree number 34, and you saw it change there. So we've thought about all these things. Let's go for another tree. Let's go Poinciana. Height 18, spread, usually they're wider than they're taller. Any comments? Oh yeah, basal bifurcation 1 meter high. So we've got a twin trunked unit, multi-stemmed. We go to our multi-stem here and we'll say, oh look, one's a cracker, it's about, you know, 70, the other one's 50. If you're not going to use them all, you can keep adding, but if you're not going to use them all, you can minus these out. If you don't minus them out, it will show in the spreadsheet a couple of zeros. It doesn't affect anything. Where are we up to? Dab. With the diameter above buttress, it's calculated, it's mandatory if you're going to have more than 20% intrusion, a major intrusion. That's probably because with a minor and moderate intrusion, you're likely not going to run into the SRZ anyway. So I like to put it in every case, so we'll just say this one's 95. Now we're going to have an intrusion, a straight edge. Let's go for a moderate one, so I'm going to make it like 5. What is it going to come out to? It's just gone over 20%, so I might make it 4.8, 21%. Make it pretty right. Okay, let's keep rolling here. Let's go tree 3. What are we going to put in here? How about a jacaranda? Alright, we'll go 20 by 18. You know, some dead wood as a comment. It's a single stem. DSH, let's go 75. Dab 100. We're going to have a corner intrusion on this one. D1, how much does it come in? 4 meters. Could be a shed, a building, a slab, whatever. Let's make this one 8. What did that give us? A minor encroachment. Great. I like it. Let's keep going. Next tree. So we'll get a few in here so you can see how the spreadsheet works. Tree number 4. What can we have here? How about an ivory curl tree? Yeah, we'll give them 15 high and 14. Any comments? Healthy. Oh, what's your spelling? Healthy, single stem. I'll give him 70. Give him about 85 at the base. And let's give this one a little bit of an intrusion. We'll just say, oh, there's something, but it's like a fair way away. Let's give it a really... No. 8. No, make it even 6. That's better. A minor. So that you'll see what happens on the spreadsheets when you get them. So what do we got? You can flick around on these. So I'll go back to 1. And I can go and look at the data I've got. I'm mainly looking at the encroachment. So that was a minor. This one was a major. So we've got a minor and major. We got another minor. Well, we might make this one a moderate. So let's make something a bit bigger. That's it. It's just slipped into the moderate. And we got this one, which is a minor. Now, there's other calculators on here, but you'll figure them out yourself, and they're damn handy because I've used them. So what happens here is you download a spreadsheet. As simple as that. And now we'll go over and work on that. Right, we're looking at our spreadsheet up the top. You can see the outlook. There's the date. There's the time. I'm using Microsoft unlicensed because I don't do my spreadsheets in Microsoft. I do them in LibreOffice for free stuff, Microsoft. Now the first thing I do when I open up these spreadsheets is you'll find that some of these things, if you look around, you can't read everything. These columns aren't all spaced out. This is, if you're not familiar with spreadsheets, I'll show the easy way to get around this. What you do is, I find it down the bottom here, bottom right, you scroll along till you find your last column. You click on that last column. You don't click in that cell, you click on that column. You scroll this bar back to where you started. You go to the A column. You can see the cursor there on the A column, up top left. Press the shift key. So you hold the shift key down, and is it the shift key? Yeah, upper shift. And the whole lot light up. Now your cursor will change to this funny cross when you're between columns. What that'll do is it'll auto adjust. So all this crunched up stuff, it'll auto adjust in one hit on all of them. Double click, there you go. So unencroached, so you can read all the cells, but up here these were bunched up because they had 100% compensatory radius. So what this spreadsheet, I'll go through column by column so you understand what you're looking at here. Column A, yeah, you like that, you click on it. Column A, there's your tree numbers. Those numbers there, they're your cell numbers. So tree number 2 is in cell number A3. So don't start thinking cell number or row number 3 is tree 3. Yeah, you can just, if you're not familiar with spreadsheets, just be aware it's a big grid, and things are put in a grid. So anyway, column A is your tree number. Column B is species. These are optional, so if you didn't want these, you just leave those boxes blank, and then when you get your spreadsheet, you can just hide those boxes and you're not bothered. You go along here, there's your height, spread, comments, measurement type. Did you measure the diameter or the circumference? Now I got a diameter tape, so I always measure the diameter. I don't know, if you got just a normal tape measure, you measure the circumference and just put the circumference number in, because some people are not very good at dividing by pi, so just do that. Stems, so it'll tell you, is it a multi-stem, single stem? Diameter at standard height, or what used to be dBH, there it is, the numbers you entered. Now here you'll see on the multi-stem, it'll give you those numbers, the stems we entered, 70 centimetres and 50 centimetres. If you didn't zero those other lines out where you had more stems, you'd just see a bunch of zeros there. But, with a comma, big deal. Now you go along to the diameter at the base for your SRZ. That's in that column. Your notional root zone radius. That's the distance from the center of the tree that you pull your tape measure out, and, there's your circle. Well, these go on the plan. Then you've got the area, so it calculates that. You've got your SRZ radius and your area. Now this is where we start getting interesting. Now we come along column. This column is encroachment type. What was it? A straight edge or a corner? Then you'll notice in the corner one, these boxes are empty. That's because it's a corner one. It's not a straight edge. It's the corner one's over here, and it's got D1, D2. So just be aware, because people go, "Oh, what's those boxes empty for?" Well, because there's no data for that. So straight edge, then distance from center of tree, from tree center, and that's the dimensions there. The corner one, there's the dimensions. Now this column will have the area of your encroachment, the percentage that you've encroached. It categorizes it for you: minor, major, moderate, minor. So that's why I mixed them up a bit so you can see, because there's minor, that covers 0 to 10%. Then there's moderate, that's upwards, 10 to 20, and then 20 upwards is major. Now on a major, the difference between AS 4970 2025 and 2009 is, this is one of the things, you don't have to show the SRZ unless there's a major encroachment. It is optional, because it makes a drawing less busy if you don't have them. So just be aware of that. But on a major, you must show it. I just show it all the time, or I'd like to have the numbers all the time. Whether I put the draftsman puts them into the drawing is another thing. Anyway, encroachment classification, unencroached area, unencroached percentage. These are just stats. Computer works it out for you, so you might as well have them. If you don't like them, you can just hide them. You don't have to, use them. It's a spreadsheet. You own it. It's your property. You do as you choose with it. Now you go to 100% compensatory radius. So what I'm saying is, if you got a notional root zone of 300 meters square, and you lost 30, now the AS standard says you must go back to 100%. If you went from 300 to 270 or 280, you got to push it back automatically to 300. They want the full 100% notional root zone reinstated because of that encroachment. So you're going to have to enlarge that circle. The thing is, you can argue that it doesn't have to be. It's only 3%. The tree's got 97%. You can argue as an arborist, depending on the circumstances and soil and condition of the tree and other factors, it's up to you to argue. That's what you're paid for. You're not just paid to use this calculator and hand over a sheet. So it's up to you to make this discretion. But I'll give you both numbers, because the old standard, the 2009, said you were allowed up to 10%. And arborists like me used to argue, well, if you're allowed 10% on an encroachment, why not 10% on every tree protection zone or notional root zone? It's good enough to give it away because there's a concrete path. It's good enough to give it away every time. So, there's a bit of a funny argument, and that's probably why they changed things now. So we're going to give you both. So if you want to argue your 10%, the numbers are there. But here it says compensatory radius. So the computer's worked out. It's worked out. This calculator's worked out for you how much bigger you got to make that radius to compensate for that minor or major or moderate intrusion. And then it will tell you, well, this is how much we increased it by. There's your numbers. And then if you said, well, I just want to go to the 90% because I reckon I can argue that the tree can get by with 270 square metres instead of 300 because it's like in a really good place. It gets plenty of water. It's great soil. Life is good. It's, got other trees around it. So, it's sharing root systems. Go for it. You can argue. This is what you're getting paid for. How good can you argue? You're like a lawyer, mate. If you want the developer to gain a bit of land because it's not going to cause any detriment to the tree, well, it's up to you to bring that case forward. So there you've got your numbers, how much you can increase to go to 90%. So just using that 300 square metre example, you've got a notional root zone of 300 square metres, you've got an intrusion that's taken 20. That is not 10%. So then you can say, well, I reckon we just sit still at that. So, those boxes are empty because those boxes there and there are going to be empty because they are minor intrusions. So they're less than 10% already, so you can't go to 90%. That's what you'll see on your spreadsheet. All the data laid out for you, simple. If you don't want to see certain things, if you said, look, I don't want to see this, you can just hide that column. If you don't want to see columns, you're not interested in height, spread, comments, measurement type, that's okay. Watch what I do. You hide them. You can hide things that you don't need. And for those of you who like printing, you do the same with your printing. You hide those columns and then you can just choose your area you want to print. And let's print that. So guys, this is why it is this way, is we'd rather oversupply data than not have it. And this is what you can do. Like, you don't have to fear about how am I going to get this data out of the phone. I don't, or doing calculations one by one. Just, we've got persistent memory. Punch your numbers in. You might say, look, when I get to 10, I'm going to hit that download spreadsheet. Now, I've downloaded that spreadsheet and that data in the calculator is still live. So I can keep going. Just because I've downloaded that spreadsheet now doesn't mean I have to start fresh. So I can go there and put in tree 5, tree 6, tree 7, keep going, and then go, just for backup, I'll hit that download. And if you have multiple spreadsheets downloaded, they're date and time stamped, just retain the most recent one with the most information and delete the others. So you're sort of in control of your own backups.